Hello and welcome to this second part of the tutorial for looping statements. In this part we will study about while and do while loop. In the first part of looping tutorials we have studied for loops, and we know now that there are three parts in looping: initialization, termination condition, and the loop increment part. In while or do while loop, they are different than for loop in the sense that the loop counter has to be initialized outside the body. For example, I have said I is equal to 0 here. In the while, I can only test the condition, and the increment has to be done inside the loop body. Similarly, as you could do in for loop, you can do I is equal to I plus 2 in while loop. There is only a small difference between while and do while, and that difference is that do while will execute the body at least once. That is, the initial run it will always execute. And the second notable difference is that the while in do while has got a terminating semicolon. For example, let's run this program and try to understand what is going on. Okay, so we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. This much has come from the first while. We start from 0, it goes inside, 0 becomes 1 and 1 is printed. So it continues till I becomes 9. So for 9 it enters and 10 gets printed. Now for 10 it will not allow to enter. Now the value of I is 10 at the end of this loop. So it gets checked for 20. Okay. Now I will be printed, that is 10, and then incrementing 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then it will become 20 and it will not be allowed to enter the loop. Now I is 20, so while will not allow you to enter the loop, and this printf will not be printed. Now I have set I is equal to 0 and I run a do while loop, and then I print I. See, it prints once. Even though I is not less than 0, it prints at least once. Other concepts like break and continue and go to are still applicable on these two loops. They have the same concept. The only difference is that the loop has got only the comparison, the termination condition. The initialization part is before the loop and the increment part is within the loop. If you make a mistake here, your loop can go into infinite loop. I'll show you common ways by which you can send your program into infinite loop, or the looping is wrong. Not necessarily infinite, but looping is long. Say, I say I is equal to 0, and then you say I less than 0, not equal to 0, and then you say I minus minus. Now you see, your termination condition is I less than equal to 0, so it will start printing in negative numbers, and you will not have an idea when this is going to terminate. It will terminate because I will become minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on, and then when the integer value limit will be reached, it will become positive and this will terminate. But it's a bad example of for loop. Okay. Say for some reason you want to create an infinite for loop. How would you create? Simply say for semicolon semicolon, this is your infinite loop. Say for example you want to create a infinite while loop. How will you create? While 1. Or if you want to create an infinite do while loop, how would you create? You do something in here and here you say while 1. So this will create your infinite loop. Sometimes we want infinite loops, sometimes we don't want. More possibility of infinite loops. For int I is equal to 0 semicolon I less than 10 semicolon I plus plus. Now while you are looping, for some condition you say I is equal to 2. Now it will again reset your value of I and the loop will start. For some condition, say for some condition like if I is equal to 8. So when you code like this, that when I is equal to 8, I'll set I to 2. So I will again become 2. And then looping will start and again at 8 it will become 2. This is a very difficult bug to trace. No debugger will help you in tracing this. This comes through practice. The more code you write, the better you will be. I have shown you some common problems with the looping and I hope that you note them down and practice them. In my next in my next tutorial, I'll tell you about switch statements and one more conditional operator, which is a ternary operator, which is very rarely used, but at times it comes handy as a shorthand. Thanks. Happy coding.